On show 445, new EVs in Shanghai, Mini's 75-mile range satisfies, and Tesla's price changes frustrate. All those stories and many more coming up on today's programme. Morning, afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, welcome to the show. It's EV News Daily. It's Tuesday the 16th of April, and maybe this is the very first one that you are listening to. Hello! We've all bunched up a bit to make room for you. My name is Martyn Lee. I've been through every EV story that I can find over the last 24 hours and picked out only the best ones, but I've got to warn you, there's a lot in today's show. Normally we might pick 5 or 6 stories and talk around them. Today it's like 12 or 13, and I'm going to rattle through these, and not too much opinion from me, but that's probably a good thing sometimes. So not too much chit-chat, just the hard news. New article in Teslarati today says the most collectible cars of the future include early Model S's and the original Tesla Roadster. Get yourself on myev.com, myev.com, and do a bit of EV shopping. It's an EV-only marketplace in the USA. Again, if you are new to us, you might not know about that. Regular listeners will be like, yes, we know about MyEV. Thank you. Thank you to Anders as well. Anders Hove, the executive producer of this show on Patreon, was listening to the podcast yesterday about my pronunciation of AIME. Now, the concept was released in Shanghai for the auto show by Audi, and I couldn't work out how do you say, is it AI? :ME or full stop ME, he says, but if it's in China, it's probably a play on word since AI is a verb to love, so you would say I, as in aye captain. I me means love me. Okay, well, let's call it the Audi IME. I like that, it's nice. Reasons to have Sentry mode, by the way, if you have a Tesla. An email from the executive producer of this show, Brian Thompson, with a story about a chap called Willie Singletary. He's a council candidate hoping to stand for elections, and Sentry mode caught him hitting a Model 3 with his Escalade. Jumps out, has a look at it, tries to buff it out, panics, jumps in the car and drives off. If you've got a Tesla Model 3 and your Sentry mode is activated, make sure you use that, because you never know. Even someone who's standing for public office might be caught banging into your car and driving off. It was about a $2,000 claim, I think. I read the story. I didn't write it down in my notes, but it wasn't a cheap dink. Let's start with Auto Shanghai, the motor show that's happening in Shanghai right now. No surprise that it began today, and it's going to have more EVs and EV concepts on display than ever before. Some of the ones that you want to think about, maybe the ones that will stand out to you, says the website Overdrive. Well, their picks are most interest to us, the production version of the Renault K-ZE. As the looks suggest of the K-ZE, it's the electric version of the Kwid, KWID. Haven't heard of that car before. I imagine it's pretty popular in places. Maybe that's an Indian popular car, China maybe. It's going to be based on a heavily modified version of the Kwid's platform. It's going to have 250 kilometres of range. The Buick Velite 6 is a heavily revised version of the second generation Chevy Bolt. The plug-in version going to debut first and be powered by the 1.5 litre petrol motor and a almost 20 kilowatt hour battery with a range of 291 miles. The website says look out for the NIO. The NIO EP7 is a performance sedan. Also, they like the Audi Q2 e-tron. That's the little Q2 sized Audi. Good for city, actually good for China, which is where it's going to be released. The Aston Martin Rapide E, which I'm glad they've sorted the name out, because for a while they were talking about this as being the Rapide with the E on the end of Rapide capitalised, and yet they were calling it the Rapide E, but now they have properly added an E on the end, so it is Rapide space E, which doesn't mess with my brain quite so much. And the Geely as well, the Geely GE11. Now the GE11 from Geely is going to be the first global model from Geely's newly created EV brand, Geely New Energy. It's internationally, it's going to be sold, it's going to be available under the Geometry brand. Right, super interesting stuff. That's how Shanghai is looking. Let's talk about that Renault car, by the way, the Kwid EV, or the City K-ZE, revealed at the Shanghai Motor Show. Renault has showcased the production version of it. The EV is based on the same platform as the Kwid, with a few modifications to accommodate batteries and the electric motor, the running gear. However, the specifications haven't been revealed yet, says Zigwheels. While it hasn't been officially revealed in terms of how far it'll go, the K-ZE, they reckon will have an approximate range of 250 kilometres. Inside, the cabin remains largely similar to the Kwid. KWID with a functional setup. Key highlights include the 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which also gets online navigation, got real-time monitoring for EV features, got a 4G Wi-Fi connection as well, you got voice recognition in that, and this is interesting, it comes with particulate sensors, PM2.5 sensors, and when the air quality outside the car gets so bad, as we know it does in many large cities, it will shut down the air intake from the outside and recirc what is on the inside. It also features a rear camera, tyre pressure systems and things like that. So it's not bad spec, and it's a small little city car if you fancy, well, if you're in China and you fancy getting yourself a little Renault. Also at Auto Shanghai, which is on at the moment, the Chinese EV startup NIO showed off its all-new sedan with the ET preview and exhibited its entire NIO service solution. They do battery swaps and things at NIO like Tesla used to, and some cutting-edge technologies like the 220 kilowatt permanent magnet synchronous motor they're using for their drivetrain, says Gasgoo for InsideEVs.com, where the EV maker also showcased products like the high-performance ES8, which is the SUV, the high-performance long-range electric car, the ES6, and the ultra-fast car, the EP9, the NIO EV Vision car, their vision for the future, and they had a Formula E car as well, their NIO 004, which they race in Formula E. Let's talk about Karma, the Karma Rivero GT. It's an updated variant of the Fisker Karma from 2016. Rewind 3 years. In fact, rewind your brain to the word Fisker. Well, the Karma Rivero GT is a production vehicle and it will be going on sale soon, they say. Karma Automotive has an interesting two-door concept debuting at the Auto Shanghai Motor Show. It is a Pininfarina GT, and it's based on the Rivero GT. Its name suggests that it's been designed by Pininfarina because it has. According to Anthony Carr at Motor1.com, the official press release says that it's the first result of the partnership with Pininfarina, the iconic Italian design house, which hints at potential future products developed between those two companies. The coupe has the exterior dimensions of the Rivero GT. The overall appearance is sporty, a little short rear overhang, nice long bonnet or hood. We believe the two-door vehicle has the same powertrain as the Rivero GT, which means a 1.5 litre BMW 3-cylinder turbo engine and onboard electric generator with 2 electric motors for a serious power, 535 horsepower on that, if you fancy the Pininfarina GT based on the Karma Rivero GT. Staying in China, and this is the last one we'll do from the motor show. Chinese electric vehicle maker Electromechanical has signed a contract with a logistics company called Crane Worldwide to move their passenger vehicles. They make 3-wheelers. The 2 wheels at the front, 1 wheel at the back. The 3-wheel Solo, Electromechanical Solo, and it's being made in China, and then it's going to be shipped to Los Angeles for US sales and Vancouver for Canadian sales, according to the website Automotive Logistics. Well, Electromechanical is currently ramping up mass production of its Solo electric vehicle at the Chongqing manufacturing facility in China for delivery to customers in 2019. According to the official figures from the EV maker themselves, they've had 64,000 pre-orders for the 3-wheeler. Let's move on to Hyundai and fuel cell technology. Hyundai and the Swiss company H2 Energy have confirmed their commitment to establishing a joint venture called Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility. The joint venture's first goal is to open up the European hydrogen mobility ecosystem with fuel cell trucks, says Carrie Hamill for Electrive.com. She says that Hyundai is going to supply a total of 1,600 fuel cell trucks, the heavy trucks, like semi-trucks if you're listening in the US, to Hyundai for hydrogen mobility over the next 6 years. That's 600 more than originally agreed. Well, the Swiss company H2 Energy specialises in the production and supply of renewable hydrogen in Switzerland, with subsidiaries in Germany and Norway and Austria as well, and they're going to be responsible for marketing the fleet. I'll put a link to Electrive in the show notes down there. Let's talk about Mini. BMW owned Mini. In a survey that they did in the USA, the brand asked 1,004 adults over the age of 18, 502 men, 502 women, a series of questions about EVs to determine what people would say they wanted from an average range. While the questions asked weren't disclosed, the brand did reveal the results of this survey, saying that the average range that people said they wanted or deemed sufficient, let me be absolutely correct with this, the phrase was deemed sufficient, was 75 miles. This doesn't seem right, but I'll continue. This is a story that's been picked up by BMW blog. Mini also learned from the survey, majority of customers find EVs to be best used for city driving or for their short commutes, the latter of which is assuming it's a pretty short commute if you're only going to do 75 miles on the battery. The information is going to factor into the size of battery packs in future EV Minis from BMW. Well, the first one is coming this year. It's called the Mini E, and it's going to be using the same battery pack as the BMW i3. That's 42.2 kilowatt hours for the latest version. 120 amp hours is how they label it, and get around 120 miles of range. But something doesn't seem right. Either the people they asked, the filter they had, the sample, it doesn't see, or even the questions. I'd like to look at the actual questionnaire. Hey, look, I'm no research expert, but I've done my fair share of focus groups and research over the years from my old career, and it just doesn't seem right. If you're saying to people, what's your sufficient range? I just think they would go bigger. They would just, because people do that. I need 150, that's sufficient. So I hope that people don't start to think that EVs only do 75 miles. Maybe it just seems like very 8 years ago. Anyway, but we'll keep an eye on that. Let's move on to Tesla. Their constant price changes frustrate people. According to this new article that I found in Forbes today, last week Tesla changed the prices on their cars yet again. In the last few months, there have been a huge number of price changes, particularly the Model 3. Says this Forbes article, goes on to track every single price change since the beginning of the year. They've put together a 12-point list, and it follows the changing face of autopilot, the different autopilot prices, the $35,000 Model 3, which came and went. I did get an email complaint from a Tesla fan in the last 24 hours saying, how dare I say that the $35,000 Model 3 has gone. It's clearly on sale if you go into a branch and ask very nicely with the special password with one of your trouser legs rolled up. That's the secret sign that you can order a $35,000 Model 3. Look, I think it's pretty clear. They put it on sale to say they've always said they would do, and they did. And they sold some of them. But over and over and over and over again with Tesla, when they take things off the market, they make them what they call off-menu. So if you call, or if you go in the store, these stores that apparently aren't closing now, if you go into the store and say, I want the special fried rice, and you ask the kitchen for the special thing, they'll know you're asking for the $35,000 Model 3. But considering Elon goes, every tweet he sends about buying a car is open the app, buy a car in 60 seconds. You don't like it, give it back. It seems weird that actually people would defend buying this $35,000 Model 3 when it's not really for sale. But of course, technically, it is for sale. Let's continue with this Forbes article then. It's a really thoughtful piece. It's done by Brad Templeton. So he talks about buyer's remorse, how cell phones, I know cell phones are a different price point to cars, but they've really been commoditized, almost like you have them for 2-3 years, and putting them online to resell them is such a hassle. You haven't got time and the price wouldn't be good enough. People throw phones away after a few years now. I know I always eBay mine, but some people don't. They're like, well, it's disposable now. And then they buy the latest, greatest technology. Elon Musk has had a few things to say about the way technology moves forward. He points out that the prices on other makers' cars actually fluctuate all of the time. They're always doing special pricing. Dealers get rebates. Plain old negotiation, going in there with a real war mentality when you walk up that forecourt being like, this is the price I'm going to battle the dealer down to, because they've got so much wiggle room in their prices. Elon points out that actually this is the case everywhere. He says Tesla, it should be applauded because they do it transparently. The price you see is the price you pay. And yes, they're a tech company, and they move quickly, and the price moves a lot. They shouldn't be blamed for doing the right thing. There is some merit to this, says this Forbes article. The fact that somebody can get $3,000 off a car simply by negotiating with the right dealer, even at the right time of the month, if they want to hit their targets and will take a hit on their margins to get the target they've got to get, they'll take more money off the car. Elon Musk points out that Teslas, unlike other cars before them, also get better with age. Don't we all? With new features, with software updates, which are given to all owners whose cars are eligible, whose tech can handle them. I'll put a link to the article in the show notes because it's a long read, but it's a good one. Let's move on to Toyota. They have agreed to sell their EV technology. I say EV, I mean electrified vehicle technology, the kind of softy hybridy stuff that they do. They're selling the technology to a Chinese company, a startup in China. They're called Singulato, and they're doing it in a move to give preferential rights to green credits. This is under China's new quota system for EVs, says the City AM newspaper today here in the UK. Well, as I was reading this, it says the Green Car Credit System, which was introduced in January, requires a significant portion of any car maker's production or the imports into China to be electric or hybrid. Those that don't meet the quota themselves are able to purchase credits from their rivals that are exceeding it at the moment. If they have spare credits, if they don't have enough credits, they face government fines if they want to trade in China. So Singulato is developing an EV, which they will release later this year. They're going to generate credits for the startup, some of which Toyota will be purchasing so that Toyota don't get fined. Toyota has already said that initially it won't be able to meet its quotas without buying credits from others in China. I'll put a link to City AM in the show notes. Let's move on to the Chevy Bolt. And I love people who scour trademark registrations and things. An interesting patent filing by General Motors hints at the upcoming second EV from the automaker. And it could be an SUV, a high-riding SUV, unearthed by GM Authority website, the Bolt EUV. Interesting, they've registered the phrase EUV. It's been trademarked by GM earlier this month, and it's going to be used for motor vehicles, says Motor1.com today. As GM Authority reports, the name is probably going to be used for Chevrolet's Bolt-based EV. Last month, in March, they confirmed they're going to be building an all-electric car at their Orion facility, where the Bolt is currently made. A new $300 million investment in the factory was also confirmed, and a plan for 400 new jobs at the site. I'll put a link to Motor1.com in the show notes. And let's get on to the last story. We're doing good for time. I'm actually under time compared to normally when I'm prattling on with you. Americans are at our best when we look forward instead of over our shoulders at what others are doing, says this article that I picked up from Motor Trend. Cadillac and Lincoln used to epitomise that idea. Well, while Cadillac has spent the past 3 decades trying to look over the shoulder of BMW when they're doing their homework, and Lincoln spent the same time building cost-cut, rebadged Fords and Mercurys, the soul of homegrown American luxury just escaped Detroit somehow. Well, today, that homegrown luxury has settled in sunny California. Tesla's tech and engineering is class-leading and delivers benchmark EV performance and range. And the vehicles are relatively expensive, requiring early adopters to be of a certain socioeconomic status. They have become part of the fabric of today's luxury consumer society. A car that many buyers of mainstream cars now aspire to own. They call it the Tesla stretch, when you stretch all of your budget just to get inside a Tesla. What it would say about their own status to have a Tesla parked on the driveway. It makes you feel good, right? You get in, if you're a Tesla owner, you know this. You get inside the car, you feel good. You've got the Tesla smile going on. I mean, anyone who drives an EV has the EV smile going on. I know that. Tesla, therefore, is the genuine, modern, American luxury brand. That is Motor Trend. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to read more. Hey, thank you for listening today. Take part in this week's question of the week. It's a super interesting one. Thanks to myev.com for setting our question of the week. Would you let your car be used when you're not driving it as part of a self-driving fleet or a ride-hailing service? What's your car doing right now? Could it be earning money for you? Would you let your car be used as part of a ride-hailing service or a self-driving fleet? Let me know. Email me. My personal address is hello@evnewsdaily.com, and leave a comment on the YouTube or Facebook or MyEV is the other one. Yeah, leave a comment there and let me know your thoughts on what you would do in that situation. Right, time for the endy bit. There are 212 patrons of the podcast, Thank you for your generosity. You do keep me going. You'll see a list of all the exec producers and above in every single show notes. Go and look if you're a supporter. Go and find your name. You can find 444 previous shows online, but it's all about the new ones if you ask me. The archive is online, thanks to our Patreon supporters funding my storage and my streaming. However, it's the new ones that I'm excited about because the show continues to grow, and that means somewhere more people around the world learning about EVs, and maybe one of those will buy an electric car, and that would make me feel great. If you want to get your new podcasts first and free and automatically, you can subscribe. I know subscribe it suggests paying for it, but this show is free and always will be. You can hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on your podcast app, and you'll get it first and free and automatically. Come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Do have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow, and even if you are doing deals with Chinese automakers, remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.